Okay, I'm going to go live here and there. We'll see if it does that today or not. So here we are, and I have a question for you. Here's the question. Good for critical thinking. What is the most important thing? Could be anything. What's the most important thing? Think about it for a second while I make sure that I'm over here, because sometimes things happen. Let's see. That's good. Are you thinking about it? What's the most important thing? Did you get to it yet? Let me see here. Hold on, because something seems to be amiss. There we are. Well, that is an important question. But before we answer it, I'm just going to let you know that you are watching Conscious Mind Tripping. And my name is Audrey Newmont. I'm going to be with you for the next hour. And we're going to have a whole bunch of fun because I have some interesting things to talk about. And some interesting things, like I have a special guest that's going to come in a little bit. So welcome. And did you answer the question? I'm going to tell you why I asked it. And if you are live with me, if you would like, go into YouTube, and I'm pretty sure that I will see your comments over here on YouTube or on Facebook. So you can say hi, and if you have a question along the way, ask it. Speaking of questions, there's that question of what is the most important thing? So I use myself as an example sometimes, and this is one of those times. In my life, it has been the most important thing that one of them is my kids. They were the most important thing. And I gave and did and all of that. And it was very important. They were the love of my life. Hello there. I see your comment. Gianna. Yeah. Nice to have you here. So I wrote down the most important things. I've been a mom, I've been a therapist, I've been a friend, a wife, business owner. Latest important thing is being an author, hosting this show. So when you're looking at what's the most important thing, none of those are. Not one of them, even believe it or not, my kids, which are extraordinarily important. The most important thing, and this was a big one for me to learn in life, is me. The most important thing for you, think about what you said. Are your kids more important? Is your work more important? Your partner more important? You know, what is the most important thing in your life? Hi, everybody. I see all you guys popping in. So the most important thing is you. And why is that? If you're not the most important thing, then does anything else matter? I had a moment years ago where I was in a very bad moment. I was having a very serious depression. I had these young kids, and I had a session with the wonderful Alexandra, who channels Golden Arrow. And they said to me, Audrey, you have given yourself away. You have given yourself away to your family, your friends, your clients, and you don't really have anything left. And that turned into my first camping trip. And they said, if you're not the most important thing, then who is there? So as a parent, if I don't make myself the most important thing, and then instead of giving everything away, I'm sharing from the most important thing, then there we are. So it's been a process because in my lifetime, it didn't look like that. And the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of people are not the most important thing. And then we allow things to happen to ourselves that maybe we don't like, that we don't want. We allow people to do or say or be whatever, and we make them more important. So the other reason why it's the most important thing, when you're looking at your life, there is your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and I put them in an order of importance and why they're so important. So I put number one is your emotional health, because the heart, this beautiful thing inside of us, that is the most important thing. That's directing everything. So when your heart, when you have those feelings, like for instance, many people have anxiety, they have stress, worry, anxiety is huge. So when we have all of those feelings, then it turns to the mental. And there's that thought behind the feeling. And that thought is creative. And the brain is creative because when we got those feelings going on, it's talking to the brain, and the brain is saying, let's produce some more cortisol. Let's produce some more adrenaline. Let's produce some more stress hormones, which then affects the body. So when you are being the most important thing and you're owning your ability to own your word, you're owning your ability to own your actions because you're the most important thing, then you're going to create the three avenues, mental, emotional, and physical, in a way that is more powerful. You know, it's a fascinating thing. So you want to look at the why of all of this. Why do we do this stuff? Why do we allow other people to run our lives? Why do we make them more important? Why do we make our job the most important thing and stay in situations that we maybe should be getting out sooner? When you're doing all of this, when you're looking at all of this and you're being introspective, those critical thinking questions, and you're asking yourself, and you get to that answer, and you do that part of making yourself the most important thing and the people around you important, then life changes. Then we're not suppressing the anger. There's a lot of that going on. There's all these common things that happen with clients. And I mean, a lot of common things that happen with clients, and suppressing anger, suppressing your word is huge. So why would we suppress it? Because again, we make the other person more important than us. Hi, I see all of you. If you guys have any questions, I am here to answer them. You know, you didn't learn till your late 40s. I was into my late 40s. It was an interesting moment, and I didn't even realize, you know, when she said to me, you've given yourself away, it was like I had no idea. Of course you put your children first. They're the most important thing because I love them so much. But if we're not showing them how to be the flippin' sun, which is the analogy that goes with this, the sun's up there in the sky, the sun's being the sun, the sun's the most important thing. Everything circles around the sun. It's it. And we're like the sun. We're bringing in that energy and we're putting it back out, and we're being the sun, and we're in our power. That's the best place to be. And then occasionally we're acting like the moon, and the moon is at the effect of the sun. So sometimes we're acting like the moon and somebody else is the sun. And when we're a parent and we're giving and giving and giving to our kids and making them first, then we're teaching the kid, because they're in the back seat watching everything we do, we're teaching the kid that we're not the most important thing. And then they start running the same program and not living from the fullness of who they are. So sometimes it's a little challenging to think about it and to think I'm the most important thing, because what goes along with that? I'm selfish. I can't even explain how many times that comes up in session. Well, I don't want to be selfish. Somebody came in the other day and they were saying, well, I think I need to be humble. And I was like, well, what is humble to you? Well, humble means, and I literally brought up the definition, like, watch this. Hey, Siri, bring up the definition of humble. Hey, Siri, bring up the definition of humble. So the definition of humble is having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. And I was like, well, how's that serving you? How's that working for you to be humble? And are you being treated well and being humble, in being humble? And it was something that she really had to think about. Somebody told me once a while ago, they said, Audrey, you're too humble. I was like, what does that mean? And when you're too humble, there's a part of it where you're not owning your power. And when you're not in that power seat, it's, it is what it is. But a lot of times for people, it just doesn't feel good. And a lot of time when you're not in the power seat, you're not getting what you want. So think about that question. And again, you're looking at your life and you're looking at, do I make other people, places, things more important than me? And again, you're not coming from a selfish place. You're coming from a self-full place. So I come from being self-full at this point, and then I'm graciously and willingly and lovingly giving of myself in a lot of situations. But when something comes up and I don't want to do it, or I don't want to be in a way of being treated or whatever that is, I'm going to let them know. I'm going to own my word in a very nice and constructive way, but sometimes powerful way. Like, no, we don't do that. I want to be treated like this. So think about that in your life and look at the different avenues where you could be more self-full, not selfish. Selfish means it's all about me. I want everything. It's, me, 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 me. Self-full means I'm the sun. I'm bringing in that energy and I'm giving it back out because there's plenty, and I'm powerful, and I'm all those great feelings of appreciation, love, joy, peace, all those things that we want a lot of. So think about that and ponder it for the week. This is what we do around here. So hello, you're 50 now. So you've been living in your self-full place for a good 10 years, have you? That's a good thing. And it's a practice, right? Sometimes we slip back into old behaviors. We're going to get into that a little bit later. I have a funny story for you that goes along with that. And it'll be involving my guest that's coming in. Obviously, I have notes today. You can hear the papers turning, right? So the next thing we're going to talk about is, I'm very pleased to talk about this. I had lunch today with one of my dearest friends. This woman has been a bit of a mentor for me. I've known her for, I think, around 35 years, and I just love her. And of course, we've known each other for 35 years, so we know each other really well. I know her timeline. I know her story. And when my clients come in that are single and they've had a breakup or whatever with a relationship, this woman, I have used her story. And the story goes like this. This beautiful, beautiful soul, she is now, let's just say, a little on the older side and beautifully older. She's my mentor. She's like that person for me where I look at her life and it's like, this woman knows how to live on so many levels. So the story goes, she got married when she was young, and it was the love of her life. And she marries this guy and it didn't work out. There were certain things going on in the relationship that just weren't a fit. And so they didn't stay married. She moves along and she finds another man who is the love of her life. And oh man, she loved this man. And he ended up passing away. And she lost the love of her life. And we talked about how she grieved it. I mean, if you're going to grieve something, to walk around the streets of Paris in grief is not a bad way of grieving. And so she grieved him. She had loved him so much. Then she moves on in her timeline and she meets another man who is a love of her life. He was interesting and fun and whatever until that didn't work out anymore. And I'm telling you, this is like over a lifetime. Then around 26 years ago, she was like, well, I'm going to get out there again. And she starts doing those things where you go and have lunch with people. And I jokingly say she meets the banker, the baker, and the love of her life. I mean, the love of her life. This man, I just loved him too. And they had a fabulous time. They traveled the world together. They did all these great things. And in March, it'll be 1 year since he passed away. And we were talking today, and we were talking about how things change. And this is the part of the conversation that is important. And this is what we were talking about. You know, we all have these moments in our life where we change our homeostasis. So your homeostasis is like what's normal. You know, it's just how things are. And I made a picture here that I'm going to add to the stage, because I have a stage. See this picture here. So these are the big things in life that change our homeostasis. Like for a lot of people, you live in your home and you go to graduation and you go to college. So that's the first like big homeostasis that a lot of people, they're changing because they've been living at home all this time, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, you know what? I got a whole new life going on. We've changed our normal. We've changed our homeostasis greatly. So we have all these moments in life that can be amazing change in homeostasis, change in who you're being. Another one is when we get married. That's huge. Another really big one is when we have a baby. That one is huge. I've had 3, and it's like each one of them is like, whoa, what just happened here? And then, you know, another change in homeostasis can be just simply going on a vacation. And you get back and it's like things feel different. It's almost like you're changing timelines. And that's why I put it on a timeline like this. So there's all these good changes in homeostasis. And funny enough, another one is moving. We had a moment once where we moved as a family and we moved into our dream home. And even as it was a good homeostasis, a lot of the time when you change your homeostasis, even though it's good, it can be like your ego gets involved. It goes, wait a minute, what's going on here? There's something different. I don't know that I like this. And it can be kind of challenging, you know, tricky. And then there's those changes in homeostasis that are really challenging. And as you can see, there's the health challenges that we face. Death is a monster one for the people that remain. And divorce is another big one. These are all big. I mean, all of them. A relationship ending, whether it's a friendship or a partner. And then a job ending. You know, all of these things in life, whether we're intentionally creating them or not, like a changing of your job, it's still changing the homeostasis. So when I was talking with my friend today, we were talking about this, and I said, you know, it's an interesting thing when your partner dies and it's somebody that you love so much. And to be clear, many people are dealing with partners dying, loved ones dying. It's a big moment for that in time right now. So when we go into that kind of a homeostasis, it's like you have somebody with you, and then all of a sudden it's like, what just happened here? They're gone. It's like, it's a shock. And grief is at the bottom of the barrel of the emotions on the fear side. The fear emotions, false evidence appearing real. Fear can be one of them, but on all those emotions, those are the challenging ones that we learn from, that we work through, that we deal with. And at the bottom of those emotions is, unfortunately, grief and depression. So grief is one of those things that, unfortunately, it's like we just need to ride it. And I was talking with her about this today, and there's that part when you're in all of it, you're very busy and you're dealing with all the things that matter, and you're in the heavy emotions of all of it. And by the way, I just want to back up a little bit. There's the other part of when we're dealing with somebody that they're transitioning, that we're very close to, especially when it is our direct partner that we have spent a long time with. You know, you're in a homeostasis with another person. You're doing all these things. They're there. You know, there's that part where you have that person that you're always connected with. And a lot of times when we get into those kind of a relationship, we rely on them to be our company. We rely on them to be our support. We, you know, they're that person. I was just laughing yesterday. I've said not yesterday, the day before, my daughter, she uses for emotional support. I was laughing, saying I was her emotional support dog. You know, we be what we be for other people all the time. So like in this particular situation, and you want to think about maybe your situation or somebody close to you, when we change our homeostasis like that, it's not only that we miss them, it's also the lifestyle and that regular person. So then when somebody passes, there's that immediate, you have to do all of the stuff. So that keeps you busy. And then there's the part where everybody's like, hey, let's do lunch, let's do this, let's do that. And then there is the part where people aren't calling as much for whatever reason. You know, they're maybe thinking that they're busy, which people do, or they're thinking that they're okay, or whatever people think, that they're not reaching out. So the reason why I bring all of this up is because that is a massive change in the homeostasis. And when you're getting to the part of it where the people aren't calling, you know, a lot of times people can be like, oh, you know what? I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know where to go, or, you know, all these people that were in my life, they're not as much in my life, and I don't have that person. So it's really important to get, and this is why I say it, this person in my life, I'm telling you, she's a master at overcoming these challenges in her homeostasis. I mean, she was the example for my single people, or still is. And so I was lovingly reminding her that this is yet another one of those moments where we have to step back and look at, well, what's going on here? And what do I intend? What's the thing that I want at this point? I've got to create a new homeostasis. And as I said at the beginning of all this, I'm the most important thing. So like for her, she's got all these people in her life that love her. There's things that she gets to do to start redirecting her channels, redirecting what she's doing, and creating a new point in her timeline of the next adventures, the next place to experience love, the next place to experience all the great things that we as human bodies. So when you're looking at your own timeline, you see those empty ones. We all have these changes in homeostasis. So it's an interesting thing to use your timeline and to look at the different moments where you have had those massive changes and what you did to create new adventures, new ways of being in the world that are, you know, powerful, constructive, abundant, you know, all of those great things that we want to be in our lives. You know, I think sometimes people have a tendency with, especially with grief, to dive headfirst into it and to almost like in that grief create an, unfortunately, a new homeostasis that, hold on, let me see something here. I'm distracted. All right, I'm not going to do that. So especially for grief, there's a part of it where, and this is another aspect of things, and I'm going to back up a little bit. When I was learning to be a spiritual practitioner, it was 4 years of training and 2 years of the actual practitioner training. In the first year, we had to study death. I kind of didn't like it at all. It was hard. And I really was bothered about it, and I couldn't understand why I was so bothered about it. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just let this go. And when the answer happens, I'll let it happen. But I can't keep stressing over it. We literally had to write our own funeral. We had to go to a funeral. We had to really look at death. And I'd never done that before. And it was really bothering me, like on a big level. So I let it go. And then the next year, sure enough, practitioner training, we're studying death again. And this time I was like, oh, shit, I don't like this, but I'm going to get the answer. So I asked for the answer. What is this thing? Why does it bother me so much? And just on a quick side note, you can do that. You know, people come in all the time and I'll ask them a question. I don't know. So I guess you do. There's a part of you that knows the answer to everything. And when you say, I don't know, there you are. So when you've got something and it's bothering you and you want to know, ask. You're right there. Your higher part of you knows the answer. So I'm on my way to class one day and out of nowhere it hit me. Oh my God, I took on a belief around death. I took on a belief around what this looks like. I remember as a kid, I used to be terrified that I was going to die one day. And it's a mass consciousness around death, around this idea. And part of it is, I mean, you go to any hospital, they keep people alive forever because heaven forbid they should die. I mean, they're brain dead and they're keeping them alive. So it's really important to understand if you have a belief around death, it's a good one to investigate because that helps with the grieving process. Because in reality, when people die, they're exiting the vehicle, but it's not an end. It's not an end to the relationship. It's not an end to anything. So it's not like, oh, they're gone and it's never going to be a connection. That's not accurate. Pardon me. What is going on there? So I'm not going to get more into that story because that's for a whole nother time. And I think I have somebody I might have as a guest. Actually, I'll tell you who it is. I'm going to reach out to him. I met him not long ago, this guy, Danny and Brinkley. And you can look him up. He has a book, Saved by the Light, I believe. It's something like that. You can listen to it on Audible. And this guy died by getting hit by a lightning bolt, literally died. And he had a whole experience where he died. And I guess he didn't learn well from his experience because he had the same thing happen again. I mean, how does that happen? You get hit by lightning twice in a lifetime. Anyway, he has a fascinating story, and I'd like to bring him on because when we have a fear of death, that doesn't work in any way, shape, or form for so many reasons. So we'll talk about that another time. But to get back to this timeline with the homeostasis, when you're looking at your own timeline, and there are these moments that you've had that have shifted your life, whether it's something that is over a period of time or it's something like sudden, like a sudden exit. It's really important to look at the fact that there is you, the most important thing, still here. And you have a life to live. And so, yes, we have our moments where we're grieving. We have our moments where massive grief, but there is another side to it as well. So grief is like this wave that you ride. It's huge at first. And it's these big down. It's like, it's a huge process. And over time, the process gets better and it gets more leveled out and smooth, especially if you're intentional about changing your homeostasis and doing whatever actions that you can take to make your life better. Like I was talking with her today and, you know, she's my girl. So she was already on it, making all of these things happen for her in her life. So I'm going to take this off of the share now and put this back here. And we'll go on to our next subject. Any questions at this point? Let me see if I'm looking at things right. Hello to all you people. Very nice to have you join me. The next thing we're going to talk about. So I bring up things that happen in session because many people have the same story. Many people do very similar things. Nobody has the exact same story because we're all very individual in our lives. But this particular situation is exceedingly common. Here it is. Well, I'm going to back it up again. So what people do is we have a tendency to, when there are things that happen in life where there's trauma, people have a tendency, trauma is like your car, the body, is hitting a wall. And when we actually hit a wall with our car, it's like the car gets dinged up and it's hard to drive in. So when we have too much going on in the painful feelings, people don't want to live there. So what people have a tendency to do is, I'm going to put that car over there. I'm going to put the car that's carrying like guilt. That's a big one for people. Shame is another one. Remorse. All of these feelings that don't feel very well. It's like, I don't want to be in that. So I'm going to take this other car. And sometimes people take addiction cars because they don't want to be present with their feelings. Sometimes people take shopping cars. They take, I'm just going to check out in gaming. Sometimes people take, I don't know, any kind of car. There's all these different versions of it. So think about your own life. How do you check out from your feelings? It's like, I don't want to deal with those feelings. I maybe want to compartmentalize them, or I want to just let them go. And I'm just going to keep going over here. I'm going to just, dissociate. The car that I'm talking about, the one that is really interesting that a lot of people take, is the I'm perfect car. I'm just going to present. I'm going to keep doing the right thing. I'm going to keep just making things happen where it's just, I know what to do. I know how to do it. And I'm going to just keep on that. I'm just making everything just right car. And that is a challenging one to take because the mind still knows you've got all this stuff going on over here. So then you really start getting at odds with yourself, and unfortunately, stuff happens. So when I say that there's a lot of people that deal with that, everybody's got their own version of it. Everybody's got their own story around it. So whenever I do have people that come in and it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that part of it where I was wrong, or I feel like I was bad, or whatever the thing is that is associated with all those feelings I just mentioned, it's important to recognize we're all perfectly imperfect. There is not a single soul out there that does everything right all the time. There's just not. So there's a part of it where you want to make it okay to have done something that doesn't work, to have done something that hurt another person. When you are taking responsibility and ownership and you're addressing it, a lot of times with constructive communication, that's when you're going to dump the trunk. That's when you're going to be able to let it go, and you don't have to worry about this car is dragging its ass along, because you're learning to integrate and be with those feelings when they come up, of whatever it looks like. To be clear, guilt is a really big one for a lot of people. It's huge. And when we experience guilt, and I don't want to do that, I just want to keep doing the right thing. I want to keep doing that other part where it's not the thing I didn't like doing. So I'm just going to overdo this. But in reality, both cars are rolling. And to be clear, as long as guilt is rolling, shame, remorse, those are huge. So as an example, when I work with people who come in and they have any kind of addiction problems, that guilt in particular will keep bringing the addiction back around, because the guilt is an unbearable feeling to hold on to. And as long as it's rolling, you're going to keep going back to those habits because it doesn't feel good. When you're in your timeline and you're here now and you're addressing the guilt, whatever those things that we did back here, then you're able to dump it. You're able to learn from it, grow and gain that wisdom, and be able to be back on the timeline and be perfectly imperfect. I'll give you an example. Just a couple of days ago, no, actually yesterday, just yesterday, I said something, doesn't matter what it is, to somebody I love very, very much, and I didn't realize how it came across until this morning. And I was like, oh, that might not have felt very good. That might have been whatever, and I need to address it. So I'm not going to sit there and feel bad that I said it or did it. It wasn't intentional. Most of the stuff that we do is not intentional. Most of it is unconscious. We're unaware that we're unaware. Most people aren't out there being nasty to each other on purpose. We have the little kid in the back seat, the one that's got all those feelings, and that one is the one that's like needling and getting triggered and saying things that are unintentional. So when I realized this morning, I was like, so I called them and I was like, hey, this might have sounded bad, it might have looked bad, whatever. I apologize because I'm recognizing what I did. I didn't do it on purpose. So when we're able to address these things and we're able to express it rather than hold on to it and have that guilt going, shit, I was bad, I was wrong, whatever those things are, when we're expressing it and it's coming from a heartfelt place, whatever they do with it is their business. But when you're doing it for you, because you're the most important thing, then you're able to be back in the moment and be back with yourself and not having these two cars rolling because you've got this guilt that you've been carrying. So the homework around this is to look at your timeline. And again, important, not with judgment. Judgment is right there next to guilt, and it will keep it rolling. So we all learned programs. We all learned how to be however we have been. So when you're looking at your timeline, if there are things that you're still holding on to in your trunk, there's a process, doesn't usually happen overnight, of letting these things go so that you are being present with yourself in your perfectly imperfect. And you're able to dump these things out of the trunk. So you're being more, it's important to really get present. When we're in the now moment and we're being the flippin' sun, that is the optimal place to be. But when we're holding on to these old feelings, when we're holding on to the guilt, the shame, number one, we're going to do it again. And number two, you're being the moon or the dark side of the moon. It's to learn on the moon and to get back over to being the sun. So think about your life, look at it with compassion rather than judgment. You just did what you did with the knowledge that you had at the time. In just this conversation, you're getting new knowledge, and knowledge equals power. And knowledge about yourself is empowerment. So when you're doing this work, this process, you're able to dump the trunk. Maybe you're going to apologize to somebody. Maybe you apologize to yourself. Maybe you hit that reset button and you, in the process of understanding why you would have done that, and you learn from it, you grow from it, you dump it, then you go on to a better relationship with yourself or whoever. I hope all this is making sense. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a little fun. Are you ready? And by the way, my guest is late. So I have this song and I want you to listen to it. My clients are amusing sometimes. I mean, they just amuse me. So my client sent this to me today. and I'm going to play it for you. It's a cool song. Let me get it up. No. That's a commercial. Why did they play commercials?
I'm 57.
No,
I don't need fitness advice from guys in their 20s. I just need my 9 minutes of Tai Chi walking.
There we go. What is this song? Number one, I love the song. It was very festive and zippy, and I was dancing to it. I had to listen to it twice. So I'm listening to it, and my client sent it to me. And this person in particular, he said that this is the theme for tomorrow. I think he's going to be out having a good time, meeting up with some girls, having fun. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, this person in their lifetime has had a lot of relationships. And this song was way back when. And I know this person really well. I'm not going to get into the story, but it's interesting that what they're saying, and by the way, this is the Coasters, Girls, part one, I guess. And when we're listening to music, it's hypnotic. We're taking on programs. And so I'm listening to the words in that song, and it's like, oh, he must have listened to this when he was a kid, because he's kind of created that avenue, and that fills him up with joy and all of that stuff in the song. That's been like his life. So it's really important to get, when you're listening to music, whether it's fun, festive music like this, or it's other kinds of music, you're in hypnosis. And you can be taking on programs. We have a lot of kids right now that are struggling with some serious mental stuff. And every single time they come in, I'm asking them, what are you listening to? What are you putting in your ear, which is affecting your brain, which is affecting your heart? So be very clear when you're listening to anything, whether you're listening to music or you're watching a movie. There's all these different avenues where we're in hypnosis. So our mind is open to getting hijacked. And sometimes it's a great hijack, and sometimes it's not. So if you're finding yourself feeling depressed, feeling anxious, feeling all of those kind of feelings, start looking at different ways that you bring in information. And if there are music options that you're looking at that have lyrics that are destructive, you might want to make an adjustment. So, on to the next subject today. I have a guest. Come here. I made a seat for you. Look who it is. You're going to have to squish down. Let me see. There he is, Mr. Newmont.
Yep.
Coach Newmont. He's got on his Westlake shirt.
It's kind of funny you're playing the song Girls and what I do 4 days a week. Coach Girls.
Right.
Okay. Different context than the song, but.
All right. I need you to be here more. Come and pretend like you like me a lot.
Uh-huh.
We're going on a trip this weekend. He's taking me to a special place. Maybe I'll talk about it next week. So I'm bringing him in because we had a funny moment today. So Nick and I we do. So Nick and I are hypnotherapists, and we have our center here, Newmont Center for Balanced Living. And I'm a spiritual practitioner, and I call him Mr. Metaphysical because he does everything metaphysical. He's quite amazing at what he does. So we work with clients together, I'll refer somebody that I'm working with to him. He'll refer back. And sometimes we discuss our clients because we're wanting to see how we're going to help them level up and
We
do
don't
better.
really need to watch drama TV or anything like that. I mean,
Right.
you just really should just have a camera running on a nighttime conversation with Audrey and myself and have a little drink and talk and stuff gets discussed. I mean, we have a wealth of information that's really never been recorded. And it's like, it's better than any scripted TV show that's going on.
Put yourself in the center of that one.
Okay,
There
that
we
one?
go. Yeah.
Okay. There I
Can't
am.
move over anymore. My chair's
Well, I'm
on.
not going to be here for the entire show.
I
So,
know, but I want you in the center of that one.
okay.
All
Where
right.
is
So
that
we were
one?
talking. Well, when we're in the center here, that's good. But that one is like more for when it's, you know, I don't know, Instagram or whatever.
Okay.
At any rate, we had a funny moment today and we wanted to share it with you because we just like to amuse ourselves sometimes. So we were talking about this one particular client who's anonymous, doesn't matter who it is. And everybody does this stuff, by the way. But in this particular situation, I was saying, you know, this person, they know how to realign themselves. And
Right.
they do a good job of realigning, but then they don't stay realigned. And he starts laughing and he said,
It was like the Seinfeld episode at the car rental in the airport. Like, you know how to take the reservation, but you don't know how to keep the reservation. Right? And it's the same thing. You go to therapy, you make this change, you have your appointment, but you don't keep doing what you're supposed to do.
and much of the time it's because people go from here and it feels better than here, way down here. They move up.
Right.
And so they're here and it's like, well, life is better. It's good. But then they don't realize you got to keep going. You have to keep practicing.
Right.
You have to keep
Exactly.
doing the tools. You have to show up. And so they don't show up. And then they go back down here again. They're wondering, why did I get back down there again?
Exactly. Exactly.
So there was one other thing that you,
Well, yes, because of things, some people, things work out for them in spite of themselves. And people look at what's not working. And that's another thing about from Seinfeld, you know, the opposite happening. You know, Kramer once said to him, he says, you know what you are, Jerry? You're even Steven. It's like,
oh, I know what it
something-
was. Wait, before he says that, I had a client tomorrow that had to
Well,
cancel.
that's interesting, dimensional. I had a client tomorrow. Wow, Audrey.
I had a client tomorrow, but they had to cancel because they got the flu. Health challenge is being sick. And the funny thing is, I had another person call who's another new client that filled the space of the other client. So I'm telling him this, and he said,
You're even Steven. One cancels, you've got an opening, another one comes in. Everything works out.
so we can just make a Seinfeld for just about everything that happens around here now, right?
Right. And like the episode called The Opposite, if things that you are doing are not working out, do the opposite. You can't be wrong twice.
George,
It's a great episode.
it was a great episode.
Yep.
So we wanted to share that with you. So Nick, tell
Yes.
them about your class that you're teaching right now. Is it still, people still get into it?
No.
No. All right.
No, we're
you
going to
missed
week
it.
4 at this point. No. It's the level 1 of sentient healing. And even though I call it level 1, it's how people get into it. But it is a 12-week course on learning how to do the work that I do, the energy work. And it's very complex and very involved, but it is laid out in detail.
Nick is genius at teaching these things. And
you.
he's also, if you've never had an energy session with him, get your butt in here. He's amazing at what he does.
Thank you.
I mean, you just are.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I love doing that, and I love teaching that class. It's fun to teach it. It's fun to watch people grow from it. And I've had a number of students through the 30 years, whatever it is that I've been doing this, where they go on and have great careers as healing practitioners themselves.
Yeah, you've got a good group going. That's good.
Yeah, wonderful. Really pleased and proud of them.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you for
Okay.
sharing that.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for joining us.
Bye, everyone. See you soon.
We have a few more minutes. Let's see what else I can conjure up in my.
That's interesting word.
Conjure up. Yeah, this thing with that girls, girls, girls. I'm telling you, it's a festive little song. And it's fascinating when I look at things like that, because I'm telling you, I know this client. He's one of those ones, by the way, just saying. He came in, he was here, and he has steadily been leveling up and doing such a great job in his life of just owning his consciousness. And I just truly appreciate that. I've got some people in in my practice. It's just awesome. And that's why I do what I do. That's my why. It's such a blessing to watch people own their consciousness. And speaking of that, I have that book out called The Mind Trip Game. And you can either buy it, you can go to my website, audreynewmont.com, and actually have the physical, or you can look here on YouTube, and it is on a playlist, and I'm actually reading the book for you. So I made it very simple. I made very user-friendly tools, and basically do this. And in the Mind Trip Game, there's stops along the way where you be introspective and you do that critical thinking and you change your life. So I made it's 98 pages, and it's very, like I said, user-friendly. So on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the 27th, I'm starting a new group. It's going to be it'll be in series. So series 1, it's for 4 weeks. It'll start this Tuesday. It's from 6:30 to 8:30. And it's my next book. So it's similar to the Mind Trip Game, but it's different. So I'm calling it Game Night, Play Your Way to Conscious Thinking. And it's for all ages. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's going to have the tools in it. It's going to be user friendly, and it's a whole new game board, and it's a whole new approach. So you are very welcome to join me online. It'll be via Zoom, or if you're in the area, it'll be in person. When my clients use this, it's a life changer. It just is. I have a lot of people that I don't see anymore very much, and occasionally they'll come in and they need a little tune-up. But for the most part, they have used the tools. They continue to use the tools and work through those challenges of their life. So I'm just going to say, in this new game, there are new tools and new rules, and it's going to be, I think, fun. And the way that I'm putting it together, you can't help but level up. A lot of times my clients don't actually sit down. They'll not do this first tool, the Fear into Power tool. And so when you are in a group situation, you're not going to be talking about it unless you want to. And even at that, it's not everybody's going to be talking. We're going to use one person. But it will be an opportunity for you to have a community of like-minded people and hold yourself accountable to do the process. And truly, I get it. When I was learning to be a practitioner, when I was at Agape and going through that training, I did not want to do the stuff. I mean, it was just like, I didn't want to do it. You have to learn this certain way of praying and all these things that I had to do. And I was a single mother at the time and working really hard. And I literally said to one of the practitioners one time, it's like, I just don't have time. And they looked at me and they were like, Audrey, every time you say you don't have time, there you are. And of course you don't have time. It's like, sheesh. Okay. And over time, I started doing the process, and I created it for myself and then for my clients. When you're doing it, you can't help but get to that unconscious part of you and change those beliefs, change the habits, change the different actions that you take in your life that may be destructive to constructive. So every time around the game board, you're leveling up. So if you're interested, give me a call, or if you have somebody that you think might be interested, give them this information. And I'm going to, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but at this point, you can look on my website, and there's some information about it there. And you can also look on Facebook or Instagram. There's different places where I have put the times and all the details of that. So check it out. And if you're interested, give me a call or text me. And like I said, it'll be via Zoom. So if you're anywhere and you're able to get the internet, you are very welcome to join us. And in the last 3 minutes, I just want to say we're well into the new year. And if there are things that you thought that you would change by now, because, people are like, it's a new year, I'm going to make new intentions, new resolutions, and then you're finding it's not happening. This is a good time to take that class, because if they're not happening, it's because there's an unconscious belief that's rolling. And it's not who you are, it's kind of the program. So when you're able to see the program, you're able to bring it to the surface and then recognize what it is, then you're in the process of making new things happening, creating a better love, creating better health, more success and abundance, and certainly a lot more joy and happiness. So in this crazy moment that we're in right now, because there's a lot going on, it's really important to keep yourself grounded, centered, focused, and calm. And to be calm, you got to look at what emotions are rolling and ask yourself those critical thinking questions. Is it true? Is it real? Is it about me? Another big one, does it matter? Just doing those kind of 4 questions in a moment like this, if you are feeling any of those crazy ass emotions, can be life-changing. So you want to stop yourself, you want to get present, and you want to ask yourself, is it true? Is it real? Is it about me? Does it even matter? And be authentic with it. And if it does matter, what am I going to do about it? How can I change it? What are the new actions to take? All of those questions move it from being in the loop up to the critical thinking and being the adult in the front seat. And a big part of it, owning that part of us that is flowing through, being that sun, that energy, that power. So I will be back here again next week. I don't know if I'm going to have a guest or not. I might have to just ramble on by myself again. But either way, I will be here and we'll have a good time. And in the meantime, go do those things, be introspective, answer those questions, and have a great week. I love you very much. Good night.